Another day's rest will do you good, he said. Besides, I've got a surprise for you. For me, sir? How nice, sir. What is it, sir? I'm gonna have my testicles laminated.
Let's continue the series of finding gems within the hit era and with another episode today. Today's episode is one I have a lot of nostalgia for, so I am very excited to see if it holds up. We'll be rewatching Season 8's Thomas and the Firework display. Let's get right into it.
Bother, James, he grouched.
What is this? Stock footage? This isn't Season 7. The episode starts out really nice. It pretty much gets directly into the story. There really isn't any introductory fluff. I love this shot of James as well. He just looks splendid.
But most of all, they look forward to Sir Topham Hatt's Harvest Firework display.
The Fat Controller arrives to find James and Thomas at Tidmouth Sheds, asking James to collect the fireworks for the Harvest Firework display. Thomas, of course, wanted to collect the fireworks himself.
But I wanted to collect the fireworks, Thomas pouted.
And I will admit the dialogue from James here isn't the best.
Sir Topham Hatt chose me because I'm as red as a rocket and twice as grand.
It really makes James feel one-dimensional, which in my opinion, he definitely is not. Thomas is then working at the shunting yards. One thing I will say is that I am not a fan of the redesigned faces for the troublesome trucks. There's just something special and just irreplaceable about the classic troublesome trucks. James arrives at the depot, and just as I did when I was younger, I love how simple and clean the firework train is. It's nothing gimmicky, it's just a simple train made up of vans.
James was coupled up with the precious cargo.
I love this shot of James leaving the depot. I also just love pretty much every single shot of James in this episode. I am a big James fan, and no matter what season it is, I love seeing James's model. Now we come to one of my favorite scenes of the episode. James breaks down.
And James ground to a halt.
Why do I love it? Sometimes things just happen. James randomly breaking down is not outside of the realm of possibilities. Not to mention the sound effect played along with all the smoke and steam coming from James is pretty damn cool.
And James ground to a halt.
The Fat Controller informs Thomas that James has broken down. Now I will say this about this episode, but this of course also applies to this era in general. But I wish we saw more engines in this episode. We saw Gordon, and only Gordon at Knapford Station, but he doesn't speak. If only we got a scene of an engine like Henry passing by James who is broken down, teasing him as he passes by with a goods train. Little scenes like that would really elevate these episodes.
Hello, busted boiler, teased Thomas. You don't look very useful now. James was upset.
Thomas finds James, and I love this dialogue exchange.
You will have to look out for me. James was cross. You said I wasn't useful.
Michael Brandon's tone for James is just spot on in my opinion.
You said I wasn't useful.
I also just love these nighttime scenes with the lit up signal box and the headlamps of the two engines. Now here is the best scene of the episode. I love Thomas and James's reactions to the signal being red.
Why would the signal be red? Puzzled James. Maybe a passenger train is coming through, puffed Thomas.
It's almost as if they're in a panic, knowing damn well they're so close to the station, realizing Gordon is about to start his journey back.
Gordon must be taking the children back, cried James. Thomas and James were very upset.
Thomas's driver lights a sparkling dragon, as Sir Topham Hatt calls it. The signal drops and the two engines arrive back at Knapford Station. The episode ends in the typical hit era fashion as Thomas and James watch the fireworks show.
But we are most useful when we work together, puffed Thomas.
This episode is indeed a simple one, but it's executed perfectly. James is very boastful about being able to take the fireworks. Karma catches up to him though as he breaks down. None other than Thomas is sent to rescue him along with the fireworks. Even though they work together, it's still not enough as a red signal is ready to allow Gordon to pass. Using the fireworks to let the station know they are there as they're so close to making it back. James and Thomas were also just great choices for this episode, as both engines can be very boastful and full of themselves, but they also have a temper and can quickly snap back. But like I said before, this episode, as well as this entire era in general, would benefit from having more engines involved within the stories, even if it's just a 10-second scene. My favorite scenes though, James leaving the depot, James breaking down in a cloud of smoke,
And James ground to a halt.
Thomas arriving to rescue James,
You will have to look out for me. James was cross. You said I wasn't useful.
stopping at the red signal,
Gordon must be taking the children back, cried James. Thomas and James were very upset.
and of course, the Fat Controller's reaction.
A sparkling dragon, cried Sir Topham Hatt. It must be Thomas and James.
Well, before going into this episode and this video, I really wanted to enjoy this episode, and just like I did when I was younger, I can confidently say that I thoroughly enjoyed myself watching this episode and making this video. Definitely go and check this episode out, whether it's for the nighttime scenes and sets or just to see James, who is one of my favorite engines without a doubt.
Bother James, he grouched.
Definitely a gem within this era, and one I for sure will revisit again soon.